into the more serious stuff. So where did you grow up? It was upper northeast of the U.S., right?
Yeah. I was born in Brooklyn,
Yeah.
and my family was in Brooklyn, New York. My grandparents were in Queens and Brooklyn, and then my parents decided to raise us in New Jersey in the suburbs, right over the George Washington Bridge. So pretty close to New York City, in and out of the city every week. So I feel like a city girl that grew up in the burbs. And I lived on the Lower East Side when I was 12 years old for a little while, 15. So I lived in and out of the city throughout my teenage years. And then I went to college in upstate New York. I went to SUNY New Paltz, State
Okay.
University in
Yeah.
New York and New Paltz. So yeah, that's my roots, New York, definitely. New
And
York, New
when
Jersey.
did the music start to permeate into your existence?
So that's a great question, and it actually is relevant to like one of your former guests, which I was really psyched when I saw that Mike Tramp was on your show. When I was little, I always loved to sing. I was in the school choir and stuff. But when I started to like write my own music and really, you know, develop myself as a songwriter, um, I was 9
Wow.
and I was going through a very, very difficult time at home. There was a lot of violence, there was a lot of abuse, all around, like all full spectrum. Like it was crazy, madhouse. And I saw this music video on MTV, When the Children Cry,
Hmm.
and I was little. And it was the first time that I ever felt a song speak to me. And, in hindsight, it's like, okay, some corny 80s hairband. No offense to Mike Tramp, but like it was actually the most beautiful song I'd ever heard. And it touched me in a deep way. And I decided I wanted to write songs that meant something, just like that song meant something to me. So I started writing my own songs. When I was 15, I started teaching myself how to play the guitar.
Wow.
Actually, I started teaching myself piano when I was like 12. I actually sang that song When the Children Cry in my like eighth grade talent show or something.
You
Um,
have a
but
version of that out on your social media as well that I know of. Did you record the song as well?
yeah, I did a
Yeah,
cover of
I
it
thought so.
for this particular album because again, the album is about healing and the things that I went through. And so that song played such an important role in my journey to becoming a musician that I wanted to cover it.
Hmm.
I just thought it'd be meaningful.
And
So
I told Mike directly to his face that the reason why White Lion stood out so much to me as an artist in those days was because of the content, right? The subject matter was different than we were hearing as music
yeah,
fans in those days. It was all cookie cutter, but then White Lion comes along, Mike Tramp singing about stuff that actually matters. That's what stood out to me, you know?
yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Same to me. And I was like, oh, wow, you can write, like, there are songs that actually
Mm-hmm.
talk about things that matter. I want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to write songs that matter. So that's what I did.
That's
They
awesome.
mattered to me, even though nobody else heard them for a really long
So
time.
was
You know
you
what I'm saying?
talked about teaching yourself these instruments at a young age? Was that kind of your escape from kind of the reality of the situation you were living at the time?
Yeah, completely.
And
Completely. Music, I say this with all like respect for the craft. Like music saved my life. If I didn't have an outlet like that, I probably would have imploded a
yeah,
long time ago. Because
it's
the
a,
stuff I was experiencing was so intense.
and did you have brothers and sisters as well?
I did, yeah, but we're not close anymore, but they all went through it too, like
Yeah.
on some level.
So again, this music is so therapeutic, you know, in a lot of situations. A lot of people use it, for escape from mental health issues. We're especially with COVID and everything. I think like
Yeah.
the spotlight is on mental health a lot more recently. But man, I talk to a lot of songwriters, especially that I talked about victor versus victim earlier, and a lot of songwriters that songwriting and music becomes an escape from that, and until the situation changes. And I imagine at some point in time in your life, the situation did change. It did become better. When that happened, what was music like for you then? Because a lot of times, the things that we need to get us through bad things, disappear once we're no longer in the bad thing. You know what I mean? So, what did that transition look like for you?
Well, I would say that it was a long transition because it took me many, many years to finally extract myself
Yeah.
from the toxicity of my family, you know? So I was never completely out of it because I was trying to like maintain a relationship with, my
Right.
you only get one family, right?
Yeah.
So you try to make it work until I realized I couldn't try anymore because it wasn't ever going to be what I wanted or needed it to be, which is, just basically healthy, you
Yep.
know.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that there was a period when I was in college where I was kind of finding myself and finding my voice. And if there's anyone who's ever been through abuse, child abuse, and the kinds of things that I experienced, you know that there's like there's this, there's this aspect of your experience where like it feels like nothing belongs to you. You
Exactly.
know,
Yeah.
your body and your space and your mind and your heart and your soul have been violated so many times. Like you don't even know the boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so for me, what I discovered was I didn't know that I had talent. I didn't know that I had a gift. I was just doing it for fun. And nobody told me like to do it. Nobody encouraged me. But when I finally like started sharing, like, oh, I'm doing this thing, like people would say to me, wow, you're really good. Like, wow, that's
Yeah.
really good. Like you should do this you should take this seriously, you know? And for me, what that did was it gave me the confidence that like I had something unique,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whereas before, like I had nothing, right? I was nothing according to my family. I was nothing. So like finding that voice, finding that I had a talent, it was like a natural talent for music. I was like, wow. And then as I got better and better and better at it, and I just kept like grinding away, like woodshedding on the guitar and on
Right.
the piano and the songs, I realized, you know what? No one can take this away from me because this is inside of me. This is coming from my soul. This is a God given
Mm-hmm.
gift that I have. And no matter what any of them say, they can't take it away from me.
Right.
So that was very important.
And so, where are you getting that validation from? Those people outside your family that are kind of letting you know there is a talent there.
It started when I was like 15, 16. I had just started playing the guitar and like I was singing Indigo Girls songs. I really love the Indigo
Let's
Girls.
go. Love it.
They're so cute. And their music is deep. Their early albums are super deep. And I met a music manager when I was 16 and he heard me singing. He's a LA guy. And he was like, "Whoa, like that voice, like you need to be doing this professionally." When I was 16 and he gave me an opportunity to play in front of all these like music industry people. Um, so that validation was a big deal for me. It gave me the sense that I could do it professionally, which I never would have considered doing ever. And to be completely honest, like even in college and as like a young adult, I was like, music professionally? No, like it makes no sense. It's completely not a practical path, you know.
So when did that change?
Um, I was studying music therapy. I had decided that I wanted to be a music therapist, a clinical music therapist. And I was getting my undergraduate degree in New Paltz. And then New York State changed the laws so that you couldn't practice music therapy without a master's degree.
Hmm.
So I said, why am I taking a 5 year? Because it was like the longest, 5 years instead of four. It was a 5 year program. Why am I going to take a 5 year program? I was already 3.5 years through the program.
So
Why am
you're
I going to do
almost done. Yeah, you got like 6 months left, right? Yeah.
I, well, no, I had a year and a half left. I had three
Right.
more
Okay.
semesters,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but now I won't be able to even use this degree. I'm going to have to go get a master's degree anyway.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to transition to being a music major because I have all these music credits already, and I'll be graduating within a year, right? And then I'll go get my master's. And that was the plan. And then after college, all these unexpected things happened. And I ended up working with the United Nations, and I became a producer for United Nations related peace concerts. And I became a representative for several different peace organizations. And I started to pursue pursue a different path, not necessarily being a professional singer songwriter, but being a concert producer and an artist, kind of hand in hand.